Hello everyone, my name is Dayo, Adejobi-Adesola. Welcome to my Sunday chat. I'm happy to be here again, as promised, to run a live show today, like a question and answer session for folks who have questions for me. So remember, I'll just put out some housekeeping rules here that this is not to be construed as legal advice. It's just for informational and educational purposes. So whatever you take home today, just consider it as for your education. If you do need representation or you want to retain my services, we will have to sign a contract and have a retainer agreement in place. Otherwise, whatever I say today, please consider this as just for informational purposes only. So if this is your first time on my page, my name is Dayo Adejobi-Adesola, and I'm recording this from Alberta in Western Canada. I'm an immigration consultant. I'm also a migration advocate. I speak for migration. I speak against human trafficking and irregular migration. So, like I said, my phone number is up there. I'm going to mention it again though. It's 403-464-5775 if you are interested in calling in to ask a question. If not, feel free to just listen. Feel free to type a question or feel free to send me a DM. I will treat questions that people have asked me, outside of today. So feel free to call in if you can. And some of the things, I'm going to limit the discussion and topics to what I discussed 2 days ago regarding the new measures put in place by the government of Canada, the Immigration Department, to address labor shortages in the Canadian labor force. I'll talk about that. So if you have questions, please feel free to call in. My phone is handy right here to take your calls. And also about visa refusals and visa options. Do keep them to general questions so that you are not identifiable or your situation is not identifiable by members of the public. Because we also need to be confidential here with our personal issues. So what I'm going to start with, do let me know if you can hear me. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Sorry, I'm just trying to check my volume. So let me know if you can hear me, and let me know if you have any concerns as I do this. Do let me know. Other than that, I think we can get started. So I'm going to just, before I start taking calls or questions, I'm going to do a little recap about what I talked about regarding the measures that are in place for folks that are, the measures in place to tackle Canada's labor shortages. I did talk about, some of the measures regarding visitors. I talked about measures regarding international graduates, and then I talked about measures regarding express entry. So I'm going to start again with the measures that have to do with visitors. Visitors. There was, in August of 2020, just so we get it clear, in August of 2020, the IRCC, the government of Canada, introduced what we know, it's called a temporary public policy program, due to the pandemic and labor shortage in Canada at that time, and the fact that not many could travel to Canada due to travel restrictions. There was a temporary public policy to allow folks who are inside Canada as visitors to apply for work permits. And then those who are already in Canada on work permits and have had some work experience to apply for permanent residency. So that policy and the program was called the Temporary to Permanent Residency Pathway. So that was in August of 2020. So the difference between that program and any visitor in Canada looking to stay back was that that program actually had a list of occupations and streams, about 6 of them, that could apply under that temporary to permanent residency pathway. And there were 2 components. You could either apply for a work permit or apply for permanent residency. So for those who could, who were already inside Canada, most of the occupations and the streams were in the healthcare sector, as well as the low-skilled, in some of them were in low-skilled occupations, like folks working in Canada as cashiers, folks working in healthcare, folks working in as living as caregivers, or even as healthcare aides. It was in the low-skilled occupations. And for those who were here already, they were given that opportunity in August 2020 to put in an application and apply for permanent residency in Canada, as long as they had worked here. So there were some requirements that they needed to follow. They needed to have language tests. They needed to have worked here for at least 1 year. And, you know, so that was in August of 2020. The policy is called the Temporary to Permanent Residency Pathway. So that policy was implemented in August of 2020 for folks inside Canada who already worked in Canada for at least 1 year to apply for permanent residency in Canada. However, in November of 2021, the provision for those folks to be able to apply for permanent residency was closed. So as I speak, they are no longer accepting applications in that category for permanent residency. So the temporary to permanent residency pathway program is no longer accepting applications for permanent residency. However, on April 22, 2022, 2 days ago, the government of Canada did address folks in that category. And what was the new thing? The new thing was that for folks who have already applied for permanent residency in that category, called the temporary to permanent residency pathway, they can now, if they've applied and added their immediate family members, those family members may now apply for open work permits and come to Canada as well. So if they're living outside Canada, they can actually get open work permits to come to join their family member who has applied for permanent residency under that pathway. So that's one new thing as of 2 days ago. Also, the new thing also was that for folks who are waiting for their permanent residency application and they've applied under that temporary to permanent residency pathway, if they have been waiting for their permanent residency application to be finalized, they now have the opportunity to apply for permanent residency to extend their work permit up until December 2024. They can have their work permits extended up until December 2024. And then also, if folks are in Canada waiting for the finalization of their permanent residency applications, they can also go home and leave Canada. Prior to this announcement 2 days ago, they were required to stay inside Canada while their applications were being processed and finalized. But going forward, if they want to leave Canada to go anywhere, their applications will still be processed. It wouldn't affect their application. So the other thing I talked about also regarding the temporary to permanent residency pathway, it had 6 streams. So that is what has ended actually. Those 6 streams, they can no longer apply for permanent residency. It's been closed since November. However, something that is new is that the opportunity for visitors. So like I said, the temporary to permanent residency pathway had 2 components. Folks in Canada who are visitors can apply for work permits. As well, those who have worked inside Canada for at least 1 year could apply for permanent residency. Now for visitors, they are still able to apply. It's been extended to February 2023, February 28, 2023 for visitors who are in Canada to be able to apply for employer-specific work permit without having to leave Canada. So that's the new thing. However, also note that aside from this temporary policy, it's always been the norm that visitors in Canada can change status. The only thing was that you can ordinarily, if you're a visitor in Canada, nothing stops you from changing, whether this pathway was there or not. Nothing stops you from changing status in Canada. It was just that the process, or let me say this, it is just that the process is different. To apply, if there was no temporary to residence to the permanent residency pathway, what you would have is what is called a visitor record. If you are here as a visitor and you are looking to extend your stay here or change your status, you'll have to go to the Canadian Border Services Agency or the IRCC and apply for what is called a visitor record, which will actually show the date that you were supposed to be here for 6 months. Now you want to stay for about a year. It's not in your visa, it's not on your passport. It's a different document that you will be given, known as a visitor record, stating that this is how long you can now stay in Canada for. So it's a different thing. So visitors can ordinarily actually apply to extend their stay in Canada, but you would have to use what we know as a visitor record, where the CBSA will say, okay, this person is here. They were supposed to be here for 6 months, but now they want to be here for 1 year. So this is the reason. So it's called a visitor record. It's not a work permit. But what the government of Canada has just announced 2 days ago is that visitors can apply through this temporary policy. It was already in place, but it's now been extended up until February 28, 2023 for visitors to be able to apply for a job-specific work permit. So so that means that there will have to be a lot of job searching and, having to get your resume ready, having to, look for employers to employ you. So it's not just a question of applying for a visitor visa without having a plan in place to have a job offer, to have an employer, or, being in contact with employers to assist you with getting a job offer here. So it's actually not as simple as just getting a visitor visa and coming in here. You've got to have plans in place to have a job offer, be interviewed by employers, and so on. So if there are any questions, I'm still waiting. Please, if you want to call in, the number once again is on WhatsApp, +1 403 464 5775 if you want to call in. Other than that, I will address another question. So, okay, so I'll still talk about the announcement. So I've talked about visitors visa, express entry. I'm just going to quickly go through that. There's a video on that. So express entry candidates will once again be selected. For those who are abroad, they'll be selected once again starting in July from the pool, because it's just been limited to Canadian experience class candidates, folks inside Canada. So from July, it looks like things are getting better now. The offices abroad are opening up. The IRCC department, the immigration departments are opening up, and things are getting better. The travel restrictions have largely been lifted in many countries with protocols in place. So, now folks from abroad will be what we heard from the minister on April 22, 2022 is that starting in July, there will be selection once again for candidates who are abroad. So take care, make sure that everything is in place so that you can, you'll be good to go once you're selected. Your IELTS, your credential reports, any updates at all, make them in your profile. Make sure that, there are no delays. And then the other thing is for international graduates who have been working in Canada and whose work permits, postgraduate work permits, are due to expire between January and December 2022. You now have the option, you now have the opportunity to apply for an additional 18 months to stay back in Canada. So that's something to think about if you're planning to stay back, an additional 18 months to stay back in Canada to work on a work permit. So remember, this is to assist the labor shortage in Canada, so that we can address the labor shortage situation in Canada, and it will also help you to gain valuable work experience as an international graduate. Excuse me. And then the other thing is also, there was another thing that we talked about, that family members can be added to. You can add family members to your application for PR if you've been in, if you've applied already as a worker in Canada for PR. You can now add your family members, and they will also get open work permits. So I'm still waiting. If you have any questions, please put. Let's hear your questions. Let's get your questions if there are any questions. I'll be happy to take questions now. I'll be happy to take any phone calls as well. So we're going to limit this to refusals and any questions on the new policy. Any questions on the new policy? If you have any questions, please go ahead. I'll be happy to take your questions. All right. So in the absence of questions right now, I'm going to just talk about how can you avoid refusals in your application. If you have an application in place, or if you want to put in an application for PR or for whatever in Canada, how can you avoid getting a refusal? So most of the things that, according to visa officers, according to the RCC, in most instances, people can get visa refusals. The delays that can cause visa refusals or cause a delay in your application mostly have to do with medical and security screening. So for permanent residency, one of the reasons that you can be inadmissible to Canada would be medical and security issues. So if, for example, you have a medical issue that you have to manage that could pose a public safety risk or public health risk, or cause excessive demand on the Canadian healthcare system, that could cause a delay, because it would be a longer process of having to show why you should be given a visa despite your medical issues. Security screening as well. If you've had a previous conviction or any security or issues with the law, that may also cause some delay. And another thing is that if the IRCC or the visa officers think that they need to interview you for any reason at all, that may also cause a delay. It wouldn't be a straightforward application, because you do need to get a date and then prepare for the interview, go for the interview. They'll review your interview before they get back to you. Another reason that the IRCC has given for delays in applications and not getting a prompt response is that you have a question regarding your application, but you don't have an online profile with the IRCC, but you send in an email. Most of the time, the IRCC, they've stated it in their publications that when you send an email communication to them, they're slower to respond than if you have an online account and you create a profile with the IRCC. They'll be able to see almost right away. They'll be able to see whatever your questions are, especially for now that they are creating portals. There are portals already for express entry, that they started with that, and now they've created portals for visitor visas. So the idea is that if you are, for example, if you have an express entry profile, whatever you want to do, whatever communication you have should be made through that profile, so that they get your communication right away and not through email. So that's a suggestion about why you could have some delays. And then refusals, it's always best to answer questions truthfully, so that there's no cause for them to be asking you to present documents over and over again and asking you to provide additional documents. It's always better to make sure that your documents are okay, everything is signed and dated, all the documents that are requested have been sent to them in the manner requested. So that way you'll be able to actually prevent delays or an actual refusal in your application. Okay, so I have a question here. Do you help your clients to get jobs in Canada so that they can immigrate? Not at the moment, but I can provide resources to help you with job. And I think I've put some resources on this page before, but I will let you know once I'm able to assist with jobs. But what I can help you with right now is resources. I see the question. Resources to get to connect you with the type of job you are looking for. And it's not even a secret. The job bank is your best resource to look for a job as a temporary foreign worker or as someone abroad. The first place you want to go is the job bank. So I'll do another video to show you how to find a job in the job bank. But the first place you want to go is the job bank, which is the government of Canada's job site for all jobs in Canada. And it's actually a requirement, just so you know why you need to be on the job bank. The job bank is the first place that most employers go because it's a requirement for those who need the LMIAs, the Labor Market Impact Assessment. It's a requirement that they advertise to show that they've advertised that job to majority of Canadians. And since they cannot find a Canadian to do the job, then they are offering it to temporary foreign workers. The first place that most employers put their job posting is on the job bank. So that's where you want to go, because if that job has been sitting there for a long time and no Canadian has applied or taken that job, then they will offer it to you as a temporary foreign worker or as a worker from abroad who is looking for a job application to boost your scores in the Express Entry pool. So the job bank is your number one place. There are a few other places like Indeed.ca. Make sure it's not Indeed.com. Most of the sites that you want to be looking for to look for jobs in Canada, be sure that they're ending with CA so that it takes you directly. Many of them have US sites as well. But if you're looking for a job in Canada, make sure that they're the .ca websites, like Indeed.ca. Some say there are some I think Yahoo Jobs, but make sure it's a Canada site anyways. And also do Google searches. Employers looking for workers in Canada, in-demand jobs in Canada. Those are some tips and resources that you can use to find a job. Just Google searches are good as well. Or just Google recruiters in Canada looking to employ foreign workers or in-demand jobs in Canada. Those are the kind of Google searches you want to do to find employers who need workers in Canada. But I'll do a separate one, and I'll also let you know, because I do know that because of the jobs, the Canada needs workers. Workers from abroad also need to know how to get through to employers here. So that's something that we need to focus on this year so that we can help you guys, folks who are abroad, to get here. Especially those who need to boost their scores in the Express Entry pool, as well as those who want to come in as temporary foreign workers. So regarding applying as visitors, it would be for those who are already the temporary to foreign worker pathway. For visitors who are already inside Canada and who can apply up until February 2023, they will need employers. It's got to be a work-specific employer. It's got to be a job that the work permit will be restricted to that one employer, not just an open work permit. So that's something to keep in mind. So the number to call for WhatsApp once again is 1403 464 1403 464 5775. Hello, I'll call you back. Mommy, ma pè yín padà.
Okay.
All right, so that's sorry about that. So regarding getting jobs, stay with me, and I'll whatever resources I have, I'll put them up. And if I'm able to actually help you eventually, I'll let you know, or direct you to those who can help you with the job search, recruiters who can help you. So the best thing is Google, make your Google searches, do your Google searches, go on Indeed.ca, but your number one point of call should be the job bank, because that's where you find employers who have to meet the requirement of advertising jobs to Canadians first before they can offer it to a foreigner. They go to the job bank. That is where most Canadians look for work, and it's the government job site. So they put their adverts there. So if you notice that a particular job has been there for too long, it's probably, it will be open to foreign workers to make applications. There are also some job postings there that would say we're open to foreign workers, so you can put in an application. So the job bank is your number one place. But I'll just stay with me, and I'll also keep you guys posted with any resources regarding work. So any other questions? Okay, so let's see what other questions. The number to call for WhatsApp, 403-464-5775. If you are calling from abroad, please add +1 to it. +1 403-464-5775. My WhatsApp is open to take your calls. Some are asking, can they come in now as visitors? Yes, Canada's border is now open. Our borders are open to taking visitors now. We can take in as many visitors, but like I said, travel restrictions have been lifted, but travel protocols are in place, meaning that you have to be compliant with the COVID-19 vaccinations. And then you may be randomly selected at the airport for when you land here for a random test, but that test will not, you will not need to go in quarantine while you're waiting for the results of the test. So you need to, there are still protocols in place for visitors. As long as you have your funds, you can visit Canada. And as long as you are not carrying the virus, the coronavirus, you are eligible to visit Canada. So WhatsApp 403-464-5775, or you can type in your question. So I have a visitor question. I have a visitor visa. Can I leave Canada and come back? Yes. Depends on the type of visa that you have. So if you have a multiple entry visa, of course you can. Just realize that for each visit at a time, you can only visit for 6 months at a time. So even if your visa is a 10-year visa, unless it's the super visa for parents and grandparents, if your visa is for 2 years, at every point in time that you're coming in, at the port of entry, you will get 6 months stamped on your passport. And if you wish to go out, before you finish the 6 months on that visit, you can always visit. That's why it's called a multiple entry visa. So you can come and go as you please, as long as you're not staying more than 6 months at a time. So that's different though from the super visa, which is for parents and grandparents, which is a 10-year visa where they can stay for 2 years at a time. So are there any more questions? Anybody wanting to? So I've also gotten questions asking about healthcare in Canada. Can I come to Canada to have a baby in Canada? So according to the IRCC, so that's a question that we get to. Yes, that can I come to Canada to deliver a baby? You know, some call it birth tourism. Is it possible to do that? Well, according to Canada's manuals, according to the laws in Canada, as long as a person has funds to pay the hospital they're coming in Canada, the IRCC, the website, the government of Canada there's no law that restricts that. As long as you pay your bills and you're not going to cause excessive demand on the Canadian healthcare system, yes, it's permissible to have a baby in Canada. But you must make sure that there are no health concerns, and then make sure that you have your funds, proof of your funds, and that that's available, and you're not going to be using the public health system. That's what the government of what we say in the immigration manuals regarding that. So any further questions regarding refusals? Is there anybody here that has been refused a visa that you have questions regarding visa refusals? Any questions regarding visa refusals? Okay, there are no questions regarding that. So like I said, the main thing regarding refusals is make sure that all questions are answered appropriately. Make sure that make sure that your all forms are submitted as required, and if there are any medical issues, be ready to address those from the get-go. If there are any criminal issues, that may cause a delay. So any further questions? If you want to call in, 403-464-5775 is the number to call with. Call on WhatsApp. So what is a labor market impact assessment? What is a labor market impact assessment? So a labor market impact assessment is a requirement by employers. A labor market impact assessment, okay, I'll take that later. A labor market impact assessment is a document that an employer in Canada may need to get before they can hire a temporary foreign worker. And what that does is that it shows that if an employer in Canada is employing a foreign worker, that they've made the job available to Canadians first, and they could not find a Canadian to do the work. So in essence, saying that that person that they will be bringing in as a foreign worker will not affect the Canadian labor market or impact on the Canadian labor market negatively. So what we call a positive LMIA means that an employer has applied to Service Canada for a labor market impact assessment, and they have seen all the documents that you've put forward, that you've tried your best as an employer in Canada to offer Canadians the job, but no one took that job. But now no one took the job, so now you are offering it to foreigners. So it's called a positive labor market impact assessment. So so that's that on it. So basically, what happens is when an employer gets a positive labor market impact assessment from Service Canada, they will be able to now offer the foreign worker a copy of that letter as well as a job offer, so that that person can apply for a work permit to come to Canada. So a question here, how much do you need to prove in your account before they will grant you a visa? It depends on what visa you're applying for. It actually depends on what visa you're applying for. It depends on if you're applying for if it's permanent residency, there's already a set amount that each family must show or each individual must show to emigrate to Canada, depending on whether you're using the Federal Skilled Worker or the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, which requires you to have a job offer but less money. So if you're coming through the Federal Skilled Worker, which does not require a job offer, you need to show a certain amount as an individual or as a family unit. It's typically more. If you're applying under the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, you are required to have a job offer from the Atlantic provinces. And then the advantage to that is that the amount of money that you are required to show because you have a job offer is less than you would be showing under the Federal Skilled Worker. So that's that. So like I said, it will vary across board depending on what you are coming to do. If you are coming to Canada as a foreign worker with a job offer, you do not need to show any money in your account. If you are coming to Canada as a visitor, of course, you need to show money in your account that you can take care of yourself while you're here. For your living expenses, if you are coming for tourism, you need to be able to show that you have money to take care of yourself for the amount of time you're here, or that you have some family support to take care of yourself while you're here. So it's going to vary across board, whether you're coming as an individual, whether you're coming as a family. It will vary, but it's typically, so, you know, no immigration consultant will tell you this is how much you need to show in your account. It will vary, you know, across board, you know, person by person, family by family, and depending on what you do, whether you have travel history, a lot will depend on you, your unique profile. So there's really no hard and fast rule or a set amount that any consultant will tell you regarding what you need to have. But just the thing is that, like they say, money opens a lot of doors. It's the same here. So the more money you have is all I say. The more money you have, the better for you. The more economic ties you have abroad, the better for you. The more family ties you have. So if you're coming from Nigeria on a visit, the more economic ties you have in Nigeria, the better for you to come to Canada as a visitor. Meaning that if you're a good business person with a business that's thriving or a very good job in Nigeria, you already have economic ties to Nigeria. So an officer looking at you, at your profile for a visitor visa, knows that you have something worthwhile to go back to. The same is applicable with family. If you are coming with your family, that may actually, with the entire family coming, may actually show that there are no family ties abroad, but if you have a good economic tie, like employment or business that you're doing, and you show that it's thriving over the years, you need to go back to it. You're just coming here for vacation, then you are good to go. Typically, you are good to go. So that's something. There's no set amount, but the more money you have in the account, it's not just about the money. Though keep that in mind. It's not just about the money. You've got to show. I've seen people send me emails saying I showed 9 million in my account for a visitor visa and I was denied. So that tells you that refusals can be for various reasons. There's always a generic letter given to clients who have been refused visas. So it's sometimes they say I showed 9 million, I showed 10 million, but they still refuse. They've looked at other and they typically will look at other things, not just the money in your account. So you have that money in your account, but you don't have a job to go back to. That already tells them that you're not going back. A visitor visa presumes that you're only coming on a temporary visit and you'll be returning to your country of origin. So you've got to be able to show that there are economic ties, family ties. That maybe if you're coming as a bachelor, if you're coming as a bachelor, you have to show that you have something that you are going back to. You have to really show that you have ties. that you're going back to? Is there a parent you're taking care of? Is there a child you're taking care of that you already have, even if you're not married? Do you have a very good job that's stable, pays you well, that you're going back to? Travel history is also important. That's why we encourage people to also try to improve their travel history, especially if you can go to Europe. Maybe Europe, or even, most people try to go to Dubai these days, but travel history to maybe Europe or North America, would be, you have to start from somewhere anyway. So it's good to always have a travel history of having left your country for another country and returned home before you apply for a Canadian visa. Can you work? If your program is not entitled to postgraduate work program, can you work after studies? No. You may have to apply for a work visa under another category. And which would mean that typically what happens is that a postgraduate work permit is an open work permit. So you do not require LMI for it, or labor market impact assessment. So if your program is not entitled to a postgraduate work permit, it means that you have to look for a job that requires you to not under the postgraduate work permit stream. You've got to look for a job, maybe generally, and then an employer will have to apply for an LMIA on your behalf. So it's always better though. What's the essence of paying all that much money to come to Canada when you'll be coming for a program that would not give you the opportunity to work as a postgraduate worker in Canada? It's not worth it. It's always better to do that due diligence before you apply for any program here. Would I be able to stay back in Canada as a under the postgraduate worker permit program? Always do that before you apply for any program or apply for a visa to come here as a student. It's not worth it if you cannot stay back and gain some valuable work experience. It will be such a waste to pay all of that money and not be able to stay back and work here as a postgraduate worker. My number is +1 403 464 5775. Please feel free to call. If you are not able to join us here, also feel free to send me an email. My email is available on this page. Feel free to send me an email, and you can book a consultation for a fee as well. Consultations are not free anymore, but you can always book it. It's reasonable for a 30-minute period or a 1-hour period, and we can have a one-on-one conversation where you can ask all the questions you have, typically a few questions, and then we'll take it from there. So I still have about 20 minutes. This is just up. I'm available for about an hour today, so I have about 20 minutes. If there are any further questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Please call on WhatsApp if you want, if you can. Who is a common law partner? For my spousal sponsorship application, what is a common law partner? So the government of Canada, or Canada, generally recognizes cohabitation as a way to sponsor a partner. So what this means is that we have civil unions, which means you have gone to a registry or a court and you've signed the dotted lines. You are married under the law. What we refer to as common law partner in Canada is you have cohabited for at least 1 year. You have lived for at least 1 year. So you can actually sponsor that person for spousal application. Canada recognizes that. So that's the definition of common law partner. Someone that you've lived with for at least 1 year. And you're not just not just because they actually vet such applications to be sure that they're genuine relationships. You've got to be able to show that you've had a relationship and it's not just for the purpose of obtaining sponsorship to live in Canada. But just so you know, it's just that a civil union, you have a document, a marriage certificate to show that you are both married. So it makes it easier to apply for sponsorship in those categories. It's not as if it's so because people get married for, just for visas too. So officers will generally vet to check for genuineness of such relationships. But common law partner is someone you are not married to. You are in a relationship. It's not platonic. You've got to conjugate that relationship, which means that relationship cannot just be myself and a friend of mine. We've lived together for 1 year and we say that we have it's got to be sexual. You've got to show that you have a sexual relationship. You have lived together as partners. The only thing is that you are not married by law. That is what a common law partner is. And you have to show some other things as well. Dependence on each other, materially, socially, some sort of dependence that typically a married couple will have with each other. You've got to show that as well. So the difference between common law partner and someone you're not married, that you're married to, is that the common law partnership, there is no document to show that you're married, but everybody perceive you as man and wife. You are dependent on each other. The general public know that you're not married, but they see you as a couple. All of those things will be looked at. You must be able to show it, provide evidence to an officer. So the onus is on folks who are applying for spousal sponsorship to provide as much evidence as they can, because such relationships where there is no legal paper showing we're married, you've got to prove that you're actually in a genuine relationship and it's not just for the purpose of spousal sponsorship. The WhatsApp number to call, no one is calling, so maybe folks are not interested in calling, but you can type in your questions as well. Feel free to type them in. If you have any questions relating to visitor visits or relating to refusals or any other general questions. We have about 15 minutes to go, about 15 more minutes to go. What is an ETA? What is an electronic travel authorization? What is an ETA? So an electronic travel authorization it's different from, it's like a visa but different. So there are countries. What is an ETA? An ETA is called electronic travel authorization. So what an ETA is it's for citizens of visa exempt countries who want to visit Canada. Before ETAs were introduced a couple of years back, if folks are from countries that are visitor exempt, so what this means is that Canada has agreements with certain countries that we're going to waive your citizens, they do not apply to. It's usually bilateral, where Canadians do not need visas to go to those countries, and citizens of those countries as well do not need visas to come to Canada. So a good example would be Mexico, USA, and USA. So folks from USA do not need visas to come here. Folks from the UK as well do not need visas. Australians, New Zealanders do not need visas to come here. But I think after 9/11, a lot of countries put measures in place just so they can keep, run security checks on people who are citizens of countries that Canada has visa waivers with. So some of those countries, for example, I think the 9/11 issue, it was that there were folks who had US passports who committed some acts of terrorism back then. So since after 9/11, most countries, actually Canada started the ETA system So folks from those countries who never needed visas to come to Canada before now need visas to come to Canada. Now need electronic travel authorizations to come to Canada, and it's usually valid for 5 years. It's not a visa per se. It's usually quick. You don't have to for a bit. So it's a quick application. The ETA is a quick application. It typically takes just a couple of minutes to quickly do the application online. Put in your details, and you get the travel authorization. But at least Canada has some information about folks coming in a database, so that they just people just don't come with their passports and there's no record of their travel online. So just, as a security measure as well. So that's what an electronic travel authorization is. It's for citizens of countries that do not require visas to come to Canada, that have a visa waiver provision, visa waiver with Canada. So those citizens will apply for electronic travel authorization to come to Canada. It's very quick to do, unless there are concerns. Then it may take longer to process, but it's typically quick to get. So we have 10 minutes more. If there are any more questions, you can call in. Please call in. My line is open. +1 403 464 5775. My WhatsApp is open. You can call in to ask your questions. All right. So if there are no questions, I'm just going to wrap up. So visitors are able to come to Canada now. Temporary students are able to stay back for an additional 18 months through their postgraduate work permit. Okay, there's a question here. Do you help your clients to get jobs? And what about someone who has a travel history but has lost the passport that contains the visa? Yes, so I've talked about jobs before. That for now I can only provide resources. But as whatever information I have regarding jobs, or I will refer you to people that can help you, or if I'm able to help you at any point, I'll let you know. As I'm speaking today, I can only provide you with resources. But very soon I'll put out more information about jobs for folks on my page. Now, regarding travel history and a passport that is lost, it depends on the country that you went to, whether you provide that passport that's lost or not. The one thing you need to know, for instance, between Canada, UK, and the USA, whenever you apply for a visa to Canada, there's an agreement, there's an information sharing agreement. So as long as you answer the question that you have visited a particular country before in your application to Canada, Canada will get that information from that country. That's why I said it depends on the country. The visa you have on your passport, on the passport that got lost. If it's UK or the US, the Canadian Immigration Department will be able to access your information on the date you traveled, whether you were refused a visa, whether you actually got a visa. There is information sharing between many countries regarding visa and border movements. So depending on the country. So I'm not going to ask you the country, but if it's the UK or the US, you don't need to worry. As long as you answer truthfully that you visited a particular country before. If it was a refusal, answer truthfully in your application that it was a refusal. If you actually visited and you've lost the old passport, there's no problem. Just make sure you mention the country you visited, the date you visited, and tick a yes that you visited the country. This is your travel history. So it's not such a big deal. It's not much of a big deal if you've lost a passport with your travel history. The travel history, you will still fill it out in some way, and the government of Canada can confirm from those countries in most instances. So if there are no more questions, I'm going to put up a a page that if you're interested in following me to learn more, you can also follow me on that page. I also talk about issues relating to migration, the diaspora, on that page as well. So I'll put that page up for you to see. So as I said, it's always better to make sure that the Express Entry profile is updated and ready to go for selection, which will start in July. So also remember, visitors can always extend their stay or change their status in Canada ordinarily. But it's a different method. It's through a visitor record. But the temporary to permanent residency pathway has been extended for the temporary, for the work permit aspect. It's a temporary public policy where a visitor can stay back and work in Canada once they have a job offer from an employer. It's been extended to February 2023. And those who have already put in applications, get ready to apply for open work permits for your family members that you've already added to your application for PR under the temporary to permanent residency pathway. You can now apply for work permits for your family members who qualify, especially if they are above 22 or at least they're able to work. Anyways, you can apply for open work permit for them. So I have 5 minutes to the end of the program. We have 5 minutes. If there are no more questions, I'm just going to wrap up. You can follow me on my other page. It's called Chat with Dayo. I talk about everything else apart from visas. I talk about migration, diaspora issues, current affairs. You can follow me on that page as well, because I will always chip in anything to do with migration there as well. So if there are no more questions, any more questions? So I know that mostly what people want, I can tell that, feeling the pulse of everyone, it's about the job offers this year. It's about people, how can we get jobs in Canada? That's most of the questions that I get. So just stay, like I said, the job bank is your first point of call to go, because that is where most of the employers in Canada put their jobs first to the requirement of the labor market impact assessment. That's where they go and put their jobs to fulfill the compliance aspect of first advertising those jobs to Canadians. They do it on that job site, the job bank, jobbank.gc.ca is the first place to go. So you notice that some of them actually offer it to foreign workers right there. You see it on their website, on their job posting that foreign workers can apply for this job. Some will, some are actually fulfilling that compliance. And once you see that there are some jobs that, they've been there for so long, nobody is taking them, then that might be your opportunity to put in an application. But I'll do a clip next time about how you can, apply on the job bank and tips on how you can succeed on the job bank. So it's been an hour. Thank you for staying with me. So I'm going to round up now. I'll make another video about the jobs and more resources on how to apply for jobs. No response from job applications done. It's not very easy. I know, I've heard that. Yeah, I can see that comment that there's typically no response from job applications done. It's a very tough one. Not many people can find jobs from abroad. That's why you need to have some connection inside Canada or be inside Canada yourself. Yes, I can see that they don't respond. It's tough. It's a tough one, really. That's why some folks prefer to come in here and do the, stomp the pavement by themselves looking for the job, because sometimes the face-to-face interaction, it's a tough one. A lot of people complain that it's tough to find work from abroad, and I agree, it's very tough. It's very, very tough to find work from abroad. But like I said, you've got to have, it's always ideal to work with a recruiter, someone that will actually have your case in front of them and spend time helping you to find that job. It's always best to work with a recruiter, and even if they don't respond, don't give up, because at the end of the day, they will eventually respond. Like I always say, looking for a job is actually a job in itself. You can send in on 100 resumes, at least one person may respond. So it's not a question of sending your CV to just 2 or 3 employers. If you are looking for work from abroad, it might be a whole day's job where you actually set the whole day that today I'm looking for work on this job bank, and you send resumes to over 100. Just keep doing it, but eventually you will get a response. The other thing is, you also, that there's what we call the Canadian resume style. Sometimes your resume may not, meet that requirement. You may not be doing what Canadians will be doing. That is something to discuss at a later time as well. What type of resumes are you sending in? Is it the type of resume from Nigeria or the Canadian style resume? Because I won't lie to you, the Canadians, every country you go to, the employment standards are different. The Canadian style resume, you need to have that in place. You need to know some things that are needed, your cover letter. Because if your resume is not even meeting their requirement or the standard they want, they won't even look at it. So that's why I said it's good to work with a recruiter. But do stay with me, and I will update with whatever help I can do with job. Because this year I see that it's all about jobs. It's all about the jobs. Many people, are looking for work. The funny thing is that even Canada needs workers. It's just that sometimes how it is when you have a puzzle and you just need to have the right fit to fit the puzzle. That is it. Canada needs workers right now. It's not just mere talking. That is what the statistics say, that Canada needs workers urgently right now. It's just being able to find the right puzzle piece to fit the puzzle so that you get connected with what you want inside Canada. I think that's what everybody's looking for right now. So, like I said, stay with me. I know I've seen the names here, and I know I've interacted by email or communicated with some of you, and I know what your needs are. So stay with me, and I'll keep working on it to make sure that somehow you get some connection in Canada to be able to connect yourself to a job. But in the interim, the job bank, let the job bank be your friend. Visit the job bank, let it be your friend. Get used to it. Look, there are always jobs there. It's a tip that any job seeker should be looking for right now. The job bank is your first place to go. Employers have to put jobs there to make sure that Canadians everywhere in Canada can see it. So they don't do the regional websites, because they want to actually be in compliance with Service Canada's requirement that all Canadians saw that job and they did not apply for it, or they applied for it and did not meet your requirement. So the job bank is it's a government website that is not restricted to Alberta or Ontario. Everyone all around Canada can see the job bank. And so an employer would have fulfilled the requirement of making sure that Canadians saw that job posting by putting it on the job bank. So that's where you want to be. Make sure that you're familiar with it. But I'll try my best to make another video to assist you with job bank and how to navigate the job bank and look the best ways and what you should be looking for on the job bank. So even if they don't respond, please keep trying. But like I said, it's always also good to be sure that you have the required standard for your CV, cover letters. Never send a resume anywhere without a cover letter. As an HR professional, I know that too, that you cannot send a CV. Make sure, that's a tip. If you are you sending those CVs with cover letters? Are your cover letter, those are things you need to be looking at. They may just see that you are not, this person is abroad and probably doesn't know how things work here, and they just ignore your resume. So there are standards as well that you need to be following for the Canadian employers to look at your CV. So it's been an hour. I have another appointment to keep this afternoon, but someone recommended me as a recruiter. That's why, you know what, I'm going to keep this in the cooler for now. I'm an HR professional too, but I'll let you know how things work. For now, as of today, I will give you some resources, but I'll let you know once I'm able to help you as a recruiter. You know that everything here, you have to, anyways, just stay with me and I'll let you know once I can help you with a job. Right now, I'm not acting as a recruiter. I'm working with you guys now as an immigration consultant. But once I'm able to also assist as a recruiter, I'll let you know. Just stay with me and I'll keep you posted. Who recommended me as a recruiter? That's so funny. Where did you get that info? Right now, I'm not working as a recruiter. I only work as an immigration consultant. But once I'm able to help you as a recruiter, I would also let you know. I'll put it out here. I won't hide that. I'll put it out here so you can see that I can also help you with getting a job. But not as, it will be separate from the immigration consulting aspect. But I'll let you know. So please stay with me and thank you for staying with me today. Thank you for joining me. I will follow me on my other page as well. It's called Chat with Dayo. Whatever, I also post updates on that page. So please stay with me. And thank you so much for joining me. Once again, it's Dayo, Adejobi-Adesola from Alberta, Canada. Thank you for watching. Yes, we're with you. Thank you for staying with me. All right. Thanks for staying with me. I'll keep you guys posted and I'll let you know once I'm able to help you, and resources that you can in the interim visit on your own to see what you can do with job search. But also in the interim, remember, you can come to Canada for folks who are looking for another. I'm just going to say this before I leave. If you have enough funds to come to study in Canada, or you find a scholarship to study in Canada, you can actually have a work permit and gain work experience as a student in Canada. That is something that you should not forget. So if you are unable to get a job from outside Canada, it's always a good idea to look at other options. Am I able to find a scholarship and come to study here? If I'm not able to find a scholarship, can I find a program that's not too pricey where I can come into Canada and work inside Canada? When you are working in Canada, you will have an open work permit that allows you to work for 20 hours while session is ongoing and 40 hours every week while school is off session. So that is another way to look at it. If you've tried all avenue and there's nothing else, the other option would be maybe look at coming in as a student. Or if you have some funds, or maybe look at coming in as a business person, as an entrepreneur, or probably if you have business ideas, look at working with the startup incubators who will actually sponsor your idea. You don't have to put down the money. You can put down the idea, pitch your business idea to them, and they will sponsor that business idea, and they will actually use it's like investing in you to start a business here. And they're helping you to start up the business. It's like funding you. They are called incubators. They help you have a good idea. They look at your idea. You pitch your idea to them. And then they will fund you to start up your business in Canada. So there are several options to look at. But for today, I think we'll end it here for today. We'll talk more about the startup visas in subsequent In subsequent discussions, we'll talk about the startup visas, what other options are available to you for jobs. And for the recruiting aspect, stay with me. I'll keep you posted on the job aspect and how we can go about doing that this year. So thank you so much for staying with me. My name once again is Dayo, Adejobi-Adesola, and I'll try to keep making more videos so that we can interact some more. If you were unable to join me today, send me an email. If you are I didn't get any phone calls, I'm not sure why, but my phone number is there, the WhatsApp. Give me a call. You can give me a call outside of this show as well. If you have any questions, we can talk. And then yeah, stay with me and I'll make more videos. I'll try my best to see what I can do with resources as well. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, and I hope you have a beautiful week ahead. Thanks and stay blessed. Thank you. Bye now.